I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me the same night he was supposed to receive the biggest award of his life, and I had just finished creating the tribute video that would play in front of 300 people. Yeah. Let that sink in. 3 years together, through job losses, ER visits, late-night Chinese food on the floor when we couldn't afford chairs, and that whole time, he was filming home movies with a girl who doesn't even know I exist. I didn't find out because he slipped up. No. I found out because I spent the last 2 weeks digging through our shared Google Drive, trimming clips for the legacy montage I was making for him, something his mother asked me to help with because I knew him best. Turns out I didn't. I found a hidden folder buried between old vacation footage and drafts of his grad speech. Inside were dozens of videos, him and her in his truck, him and her in our kitchen, on our couch. Her voice was bubbly. Her laugh, familiar. There were hundreds of photos too, filtered, polished, cutesy poses like a couple who just got back from picking apples and posting it to Instagram. The timestamp on one of them? The night he told me he had food poisoning and couldn't make our anniversary dinner. Tonight he's being honored at the statewide Civic Impact Gala, standing on stage with senators, shaking hands with the mayor. His mom reserved a suite at the Hilton, his dad rented a tux. I'd been the one coordinating this for weeks, organizing clips from his student council days, his nonprofit work, the charity drives. Everyone who matters will be there. Including me. And I'm the one holding the slideshow remote. It's not like I'm putting anything explicit in the reel. No. Just one single photo. Tucked in the middle of other shots of him with friends and mentors, this one looks innocent enough. Just him and a girl on a bench, maybe sharing a milkshake, maybe not. To the untrained eye, it means nothing. But to him? To him it's a declaration. A bomb in disguise. To me, it's a whisper in a hurricane. I know what you did. I could wait. Confront him in private later. Pack up and leave while he's still smiling for cameras. But that wouldn't feel true. Not after 3 years of loyalty, of love, of building a future I didn't realize was just mine alone. I keep asking myself, do I really have it in me? Do I want to cause a scene? Am I trying to ruin his night, or remind him that I existed in it? And here's the real kicker, what if she shows up? What if the girl who doesn't know I exist sees her own photo flash on a screen beside baby pictures and debate team awards? What if, in the middle of applause, 2 lives collide in silence? I keep thinking maybe the high road is the better path. Maybe I walk away quietly, with my head held high. But that version of me, the one who forgives, who carries the betrayal like a private bruise, is tired. And for once, I think I want him to feel even a fraction of the humiliation he handed me on a silver platter. I don't want revenge. I want clarity. I want the truth to flicker across the screen in 1.5 seconds of pixelated exposure. And I want to see his face when it does. The ballroom smelled like rosemary and money. It was the kind of event where even the waiters wore black satin gloves and people pretended they didn't notice the cameras flashing every 6 seconds. His parents were glowing with pride, moving from table to table, telling anyone who'd listen how their son was about to change the world. And there I was, adjusting my dress with trembling hands, watching him shake hands with the governor like he hadn't ruined my life 4 days ago in our laundry room on a video I didn't know existed. The tribute video was queued up. I had rehearsed it 100 times, literally. The video was 12 minutes long. 11 minutes and 32 seconds of nostalgia and curated sincerity. And then, nestled neatly between a picture of him as a teenager at a food drive and a shot of his college graduation, was the frame. Her. Laughing, leaning into him. The soft, golden hour light around them made it look like a rom-com still. I hadn't told a soul. Not my sister, not my best friend, not even the Reddit thread where I had anonymously spilled my heart the night before. I needed this to be mine. My decision. My reckoning. The MC tapped the mic, someone rang a crystal bell, and the lights dimmed. The screen lit up. The first chords of the tribute track played. People clapped when his childhood photos showed up, little him in cowboy boots, little him with braces. They chuckled when the middle school debate footage came on. Someone even let out a loud "aw" when a baby goat nuzzled him at some student-led farm project. Then came the high school years. Him shaking hands with his volunteer team. A clip of him biking through town to raise funds for local shelters. The room was enraptured. You could feel the pride thick in the air. And then, frame 142. The photo. It appeared like a passing ghost. A second, maybe two. Just long enough. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just stared straight at him. His smile faltered. It was microscopic. A fraction of a twitch in his upper lip. But I saw it. Oh, I saw it. Then his eyes swept the room. Scanning. Searching. The applause had returned, oblivious to the seismic shift inside him. Only two people in that room knew what they just saw meant everything. Me. And him. When the lights came back on, I stood. Calmly. No tears, no fury. I whispered something to the woman next to me, "Excuse me," and I walked straight toward the exit. I didn't stop at his table. I didn't glance at his parents. I didn't check if anyone was watching. The world could burn around me and I would still have kept walking with that same cold, steady grace. I reached my car, got in, and drove. 15 minutes later, the texts began. "Where did you go? What did you see? Where did you get that photo? We need to talk. Please." I didn't answer for hours. When I finally did, all I sent was, "I know about her. Don't worry, there's nothing more coming." That was all I needed. He didn't come home that night. The next morning, he called. Said he wanted to meet somewhere public. We picked a neutral Starbucks. I showed up early. He arrived 5 minutes late. He looked like hell, eyes red, tie crooked, the polish gone from his perfect persona. He launched right into it. No preamble. No defense. "It didn't mean anything," he said. "It just happened. She looks like someone I used to know, and I don't know what came over me." I didn't say anything. "I was going to propose to you next month," he added, like that changed the math somehow. I leaned forward. "So, where did you sleep the last 2 nights?" He hesitated. Then silence. That was my answer. I stood. Left my untouched drink on the table. "Good thing I found out before the ring," I said, walking away. Because the thing no one tells you is that sometimes the loudest confrontation is the quietest one. And the strongest revenge is knowing you've already won. When I was 16, I caught my first boyfriend kissing a girl from his AP Lit class behind the bleachers. It was a rainy Tuesday, and I had brought him lunch, chicken Caesar wraps and one of those chocolate milk cartons he liked. I spotted them from across the football field, her hands tangled in his hoodie, his mouth pressed against hers like the world didn't exist. They didn't see me. I stood there holding that stupid lunch bag, my socks wet from the grass, heart pounding like I'd sprinted a mile. I remember walking home that day and telling myself something I'd carried for years after: "You weren't enough. And worse, you should have known." It took years to unlearn that lie. But sitting across from my now ex, in that sterile Starbucks full of indie playlists and overpriced banana bread, I realized something horrifying. Part of me still believed it. That maybe if I had been more fun, more exciting, less busy, more desirable, he wouldn't have needed someone else. Except now I was older. Smarter. Stronger. And he didn't need someone else. He chose someone else. Over and over. Even while I was pouring myself into a video celebrating him. What shook me wasn't just the betrayal. It was the irony. How much I had loved him. How many nights I had stayed up editing footage, writing speeches, folding laundry, holding his hand through anxiety spirals, only to discover he'd been living a second life in the shadows of our shared one. After the Starbucks meetup, I drove to my sister's place in Fairview, where the guest room still had my high school posters on the walls, Paramore, pride flags, a Polaroid of my 16-year-old self holding that uneaten chicken wrap with a brave smile. She didn't ask for details. Just handed me a bowl of pasta and the remote. "You don't have to say it," she said. But if you ever want to burn something down symbolically, I've got a list. That night, we drank boxed wine and watched terrible reality TV until I forgot, for a moment, that my life had collapsed the day before. Until laughter came back like a friend I hadn't seen in a while. But the story wasn't over. 2 days later, I got a DM request from a name I didn't recognize at first. I clicked it open. It was her. The girl from the videos. Her message was short. Hi. I think we need to talk. I didn't know about you. I swear. I stared at the screen, heart hammering. Then she sent another. Can we meet? There's more you need to know. We met at a small cafe near the park. Neutral ground. I picked the corner booth by the window, the one where you could see people walking their dogs and pretending life wasn't unraveling. She showed up 5 minutes late wearing a yellow windbreaker and oversized sunglasses, like she thought someone might be following her. Honestly, I half expected her to back out. But she didn't. She walked in, spotted me, and gave the kind of smile people give at funerals, tight, apologetic, deeply afraid of making anything worse. Hi, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. I said nothing. Just raised my eyebrows, waited. She took a deep breath, hands wrapped tightly around her iced coffee. I didn't know about you. Not at first. But you do now, I replied. She winced. Yes. And I'm sorry. I should have figured it out sooner. There were signs. Stuff that didn't add up. Like how he never let me tag him in photos. Or how he always came over instead of inviting me to his place. I nodded once. Still didn't speak. I wanted her to get to the part that mattered. She fidgeted with the straw. About 2 weeks ago, I pressed him. Asked if he was seeing anyone else. He said no. Said he'd been burned in the past and had trust issues, that he didn't want to rush things. Her eyes filled with something. Anger? Shame? He's good at sounding hurt when he lies. That's what gets you. I could have stopped her there. Told her I knew that look, that tone, that carefully crafted vulnerability he used to make you feel like the bad guy for asking questions. But I let her keep going. Then she pulled out her phone. There's something else, she said, scrolling through her gallery. I didn't want to believe it at first, but after your message, I went back through everything. She turned the screen toward me. It was a picture, grainy, clearly a screenshot from a paused video. My breath caught. It was him. And another woman. Not her. Not me. A third. Same truck. Same laugh. Different timeline. I found it by accident, she whispered. This was dated back in February. He told me he was in a work retreat that week. I stared at the image. The girl's face was turned slightly, mid-laugh. She was sitting on his lap. They were in a cabin somewhere. And she looked young. Maybe early 20s. Maybe even younger. My stomach turned to stone. That's when she said it. The line that cracked the foundation under my feet. I think he's been doing this to a lot of women. She slid a folder across the table. Printed screenshots. Messages. Comments. All from different accounts. A pattern. Different names, same pet names, same phrases. Honeybee, lucky girl, soulmate. This wasn't just a guy who made a mistake. This was someone who had built a carousel of facades, spinning us around while he stayed in the center, smiling. A chill ran down my spine as the truth settled in. He hadn't just betrayed me. He had never existed, not the version I loved. The worst part? I still missed him. That's how deep he had burrowed in. That's how much of myself I had given away without reading the fine print. I looked up at her. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, she said. But I'm not staying quiet. Neither was I. The email's subject line was simple. A video he forgot to delete. I didn't send it in a moment of rage. It wasn't impulsive. I spent 3 full days organizing the folder, timestamping every clip, blurring anything explicit but leaving just enough to make the truth unmistakable. I wasn't trying to humiliate him publicly. I was reclaiming the narrative. Quietly. Precisely. Like surgery. I BCC'd his parents, 2 of his closest friends, his mentor from the Civic Impact Program, and yes, his church group. The ones who posted about his good heart and called us relationship goals. They needed to see what I saw. Who I saw. At the top of the email I wrote, "This was intended for a private audience. It's not graphic, but it is honest. You deserve to know the man you're celebrating." I hit send. Then I blocked his number. Deleted our shared files. Cleared out my half of the apartment in a single day while he was visiting family, 2 states away. Translation: hiding. I left a single envelope on the kitchen table. Inside it, a USB drive and a note. "Your secrets were safe with me. Until you made me the last to know." I moved into my sister's spare room and restarted everything. New number, new email, new city eventually. I'd planned to vanish quietly. But the universe, it seems, had other plans. A week later, I got a call from one of his old colleagues, Jason, a sweet guy who once made me cookies when I was sick. He called from a different number, left a voicemail that I listened to 3 times in disbelief. "Hey, just wanted to say thank you. I didn't know. None of us did. He's been removed from the mentorship board. Sponsors are backing out. His mom is, well, she's not taking it well. I just wanted you to know, people saw it. And they believe you." I didn't feel joy. Or victory. I felt weightless. Like I had finally stopped dragging his mess behind me like a body I forgot wasn't mine. 2 months later, I got a postcard. Handwritten. No return address. "I was going to propose to you that night. I still have the ring. It's worthless now." It ended with, "I think I was in love with how you loved me. I didn't know how to match it." I didn't reply. But I kept the card. Not out of sentiment. Out of proof. Proof that sometimes the people who claim to love you only do so when it's convenient. When it flatters them. When it costs them nothing. And the moment it requires truth, they vanish. I didn't vanish. I stayed. For myself. And for every woman he tried to erase.